Now once you have your OBJ in here and you have him oriented the way that you want him to be, you can, and once you've done your sculpting and all, and you have your subdivisions in here, you can save him or your model as a Z tool with all of the levels intact. It's the geometry levels and all of the sculpting information left on him, or you can export him as another OBJ. Now I would highly recommend for your library and as a backup that you make a practice of saving out your Z tool so that you have this lower and higher resolution information left on your model, which you will need when you are using your high resolution model to export on your low res mesh in your 3D package for your game model. You will still need your low resolution information when you do that, so, and I'll explain why in future tutorials. But for the time being, you can save as your Z tool information, and let's see, I'll just name this generic head, save that out as a Z tool, or again you can export that as an OBJ, and just do that as well for an example. So once you have that information, you can then get set up for exporting this as normal map information and apply that to your low resolution model. Briefly, before we move on, I want to talk to you about how to subdivide your mesh. Now, as you can see, I brought in a model that has been worked on a little bit before, which has a number of different levels in it. So if you go to the tools, roll out, and you go down here to geometry, you can see that this model has several different, about 5 I believe, different LODs on his subdivision levels, I should say. So we're in the lowest level now, and as we continue to progress higher, you can see that there's more and more definition in this face until we get all the way up here. We can get some surface deformation on this character in real fine details, and so we want to work in the lowest subdivision level possible to get the definition that we need, and then continue to work up. We can actually work up and down, but it is best practice to initially at least to get as much definition as possible in the lower subdivision levels, and then as you define your mesh and then of course your surface, then you'll be doing that in your higher resolution. So this will be a primary tool for your working as well as your sculpting tools as we import our models, put them together, and begin to sculpt them. Now as I scroll over this particular tool, you can see that it gives you the stats for this model, and the number of polygons currently are a little over 1 million, which is not bad for a full body model at this level of resolution. So again, we'll want to part out our model as much as possible, and not do as this model is done. We'll want to create our model pieces such as the upper torso and then the pants and the boots as separate objects, so that we have more to work with, more polygons that is to work with as we start to define our different pieces of our model. Alright, Alright, the keyboard shortcuts for navigating this particular menu is Shift D allows you to move down the resolution, and D allows you to move up. And once you're in the highest resolution possible, you can hold down the Control key and click on D again, which will create, it may take some time to create it once you're this high, but it will create another subdivision level for you. Alright, now that we can actually see what happens with the subdivision levels, let's go ahead and clear this example out. Alright, clearing our layout. Go ahead and import our head that we've been working on as our example again. And we're going to click Edit, frame that up, Shift key down, I'm going to square that up. And now what we're going to do is go to our geometry and divide that mesh a couple of times to start. I'm going to go back down to our lower resolution mesh, and we're going to talk about the tools that are available, or the brushes that are available for sculpting. Now right up here in the left hand corner are our standard tools, and you can see so many available sculpting tools for you to use. As you work through these tools and experiment, you'll be able to come up with some workflow for yourself as to which tools you prefer. The smooth tool, of course, undo is the same. So if I hold my space bar down, I can adjust my draw size, and you can see the size of the brush icon change as I do that. So draw size, and you can see the interior circle, or the focal shift. If I go ahead and dial that up and down, you can see that that changes as well. The intensity is lowered to the point where you can't see that, and higher so that you can see what's happening here. This will get you started experimenting and developing the workflow for which you will like to work on your sculptures. Now you can see that the focal shift, the draw size, they're all also available for you right up in the section above your workspace. We're not going to be using color, painting color. We're going to be painting depth, so Z-add and Z-sub. You can see that this will of course pull out and this will push in. Those can be accessed by your keyboard as well, or space bar for your menu, as we discussed. The sub and add are right here for you, and if you, whichever option you are using more frequently, you can simply hold the Alt key down and access the other. So if you're adding, you can Alt key down to subtract, and vice versa. Now another tool that I use frequently while I'm adding and subtracting, I simply stay in the standard tool for the most part, and the smooth also. So as you're sculpting and you're pulling, actually let's go up so you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to go to a higher subdivision level, and as I start to pull, dial that intensity down a little bit. If I'm pulling and pushing on here, I can simply hold the Shift key down to smooth that out, and those settings are available also. So as I am pulling and I hold the Shift key down in order to smooth, you can see that my intensity has shifted, and I can go ahead and dial that down and get a much more subtle look. or I can dial that way up and smooth it down considerably all in one fell swoop. I'd like to take you through a couple of the brushes that are available that I typically use. You'll find your own as you go along, but I want to first show you the symmetry tool, because as you can see, I've been demonstrating with the symmetry tool on, and I haven't shown you where that is yet. You can find that right under Transform. You can go right down here to Activate Symmetry, and of course you can activate that on different axes as well, but for faces we're going to use the X axes so that you can get a nice mirror across your facial features. I'd like to demonstrate a few of these different tools to you. The first is, of course, the standard tool. It's simply sort of an add-on. It's as if you're adding clay to the surface of your model. Layer, you can see that has a different effect. It's more of a flattened appearance. The flatten tool comes in here. It's like pushing with your thumb on that clay to get it to conform to you. Again, all of these different sculpting tools, you have the ability to dial up and down the intensity of those tools so that you can get the effect that you want. Another one that's very useful, especially in the eye area, is pinch. Let's see, in alphabetical order. There we go, pinch. So we come in here a little bit, and so if I use pinch, not working so well here, but you can see that what it will do is pinch those edges together and put a nice crease in there. Get right in there so you can see what that does. And of course, with any of these tools, you need to make sure that you have enough geometry in here available to you so that you can get done what you want to, accomplish what you want to. Now see, if I run that along the edge there, I get a really sharp edge because that's pinching it out. But also notice the change in the flow of the edge loops there. So you need to be cautious about how that's affecting your low resolution mesh as well. Another tool I'd like to show you that's very useful is the Move tool. Okay, where's that? Here we go. And what this is useful for is actually going in and modifying geometry. Let's pull that up. So, and it's in direct relationship to the orientation. So if I spin this around, you can see that I'm going to get more definition in these areas. And I can just push, hold my Alt key down, I can push in, I can pull out, Alt key, and that will actually change the geometry quite a bit in real short order. Again, you have intensity settings that you can modify also. So